Hi there! Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Lily. So, what we've got today is a really interesting one. We're not going to be going over any tech, so if you're here for that, then we're not going to be doing that today. But what we are going to be doing is looking at all this lovely new space that we have in the gym. Yes, that's right. We've gotten a complete change to the colors, how some of the areas look in the gym. There's new structures in the gym. You can see one just over there. So we're going to be going over where everything is, what you're going to do when you first get started, all that sort of stuff. And then, hopefully, you'll be able to use this to find where Howard is, how to get into matchmaking, how to join a park, and even more. So, let's get straight into it. Alright. Now, when you first load in, you will be standing here on this rock platform, and there's going to be a few different paths that you can go from, but we're going to focus on the first one, and that is directly in front of you. So, what we can see here is we can see the belts that we have unlocked, we can see the rank that we are, and we can also see a few things back there in the distance. So why don't we walk on over? Alright, and now the first place that we're going to be covering is the Shift Stone board. Now this is in that central area that we were just talking about, and it is where you can select different Shift Stones before you enter a match. Now I can select a Shift Stone such as the Stubborn Stone just by tapping it with the corresponding hand. So if I want it on my right hand, I'll tap it with my right hand. If I want it on my left hand, I'll tap it with my left hand. Now, it doesn't explain what each Shift Stone does here, but it does explain it in the in-match Shift Stone Swapper. You can also see an explanation for all of these Shift Stones in my Shift Stone video. So, let's move on to the next location that's just that way. Now this is the matchmaking machine. So, what this does is it lets you get into matches. The first thing you're going to want to do when you want to load into a match is go over to this little map over here, and you want to select the corresponding region using the joystick. You want to go over to this machine, and you want to drag this slider over to anyone, same rank, or friends only. So when you're in the anyone section, you'll be able to match with anyone. When you're in the same rank option, you'll only match with people of the same belt as you. So if you're a red belt, you'll only match with other red belts. I don't recommend this one too much, because due to the lower player base, it can be hard to find some matches, such as if you're a yellow or a blue belt, you might have a better time going into the any rank, or anyone, as you will find it easier to find a match than if you were looking in the same rank. Now, if you only want to match with people who you are friends with, you can select the Friends Only slider. And once you've done this, you'll be able to pull that lever and you'll enter the matchmaking queue. This might take a few minutes. That's okay. What I recommend you do is join one of the Discord servers. You can join the Buckethead Discord server, where there is an in-game button to join. You can join the Shoeless Dojo Discord server, which you can find on the Shoeless YouTube channel, or you can try and find the corresponding Discord for your region. This will probably be easier to find if you ask people to get that link in the Buckethead or the Shoeless Dojo Discord server. So, make sure to pop your head in there. The last thing in this set here is this odd little button just over here. And what that is, it's the in-match Shift Stone Swapper. So, this same button will appear at the end of each match so that you can change your Shift Stones between matches when you are in queue. You can push this button and you can select a Shift Stone with your trigger buttons, such as here. I'm pressing down my triggers, and my stone is changing. It also says what the shift stone does, along with the name, so that can be very helpful to you. So, that's all from here. Let's walk over to the gondola. And now we have the friends list. So, this is going to show all the friends that you have made on Rumble. So, if you want to shoot someone a friend request, you gotta first meet them. So, meeting someone is really easy. You just hop into a match, and then whoever you just got into the match with, they'll be added to this recently met tab. You can also do this with a park, by the player you want to friend with, joining your park, and then you'll be able to friend each other. So, what you do is you open up your recently met, there will be names here with nameplates, you select the one that you want, and then you press send friend request here. If you don't want to do that, you can also input their fighter tag, and you can get your own fighter tag by pressing this here, and that'll show your fighter tag. You're then able to enter it into the fighter finder, and then you'll be able to send them a friend request that way. Now, what do you do once you have a friend request? Well, you open up this one here, which says notifications, and that'll say if anyone wants to be your friend, and then you'll be able to either deny it by pressing a red bin icon here, or you can press their name and then press accept friend request there. So, that's how the friends list works. And a reminder, when you're in the friends only queue, you're only going to be able to match with the people on this list. And finally, we have the gear coin market. Here, you're able to spend all of the gear coins you earn from matches to be able to buy sweet cosmetics. These cosmetics will be applied in the dressing room, which we'll go over in a moment. So, what you want to do here is press continue. Then you want to select whatever you want. Say I wanted to buy a new marking. Then you can select any of these, such as this one, and so long as you have enough gear coins, you're going to be able to press buy item here, then proceed, and then you're able to buy an item. It'll pop up here, and that's how you know you've just purchased it. So, that's how you work the gear coin market. In the future, you might be able to get shift stones, or even moves, from the gear market, but currently that is unimplemented, and there is nothing in either of these. When you are going up the ranks of your belt, you will find all of your moves, when you unlock new ones, here. Such as if I went from white belt to yellow belt, I will need to walk over to the gear coin market and redeem the cobble bundle. And this is how you unlock your moves. Until you do this, you will not have access to the new moves. So, that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's move on to the next section of the gym. This is the park gondola. This is where you want to go if you want to get into a park. Now, a park is not matchmaking. You will not earn any BP in a park. Parks are mainly for training, having fun with lots of people, or messing around. So, if you want to join a park, you're going to go over to this board, slide this top slider from host park to join park, and then you'll go to this board and press find new park. If there are options available, then you can press the host park button by changing this slider from join to host. This slider's default position is hosting a park, so that's something to keep in mind. Then, you can select what the theme of the park is. As far as I'm aware, this is entirely cosmetic, and it will just show on the park description. This does not change how people join your park or what they can do when they're in the park. So, if I wanted to play mini-games in my park, I could select the mini-game option on this slider, and then it will show to anyone who wants to join the park that this park is mainly for minigames. But just a reminder, you can still do anything in them. If you wanted to have a tournament, but changed it to the training, you can do that. If you wanted to play minigames, but it had it on the anything goes, you can do that. And finally, if you want to host a park, you can select private or public. The default value is public. Then, under here, you can put the maximum amount of fighters you want to join. So, if you want to have a small park with only 2 people, you can do that. If you want to have a big park with 6 people, you can do that too. Just a reminder, you're hosting the park, you count as a player. So if you make a 2-person park, only 1 other person will be able to join. That is important to keep in mind. Now, let's move on to the dressing room. Now that we've thoroughly explored this front area of the gym, we will now check out this side area here. And the first stop we'll be making is the dressing room. Now this is the dressing room, and this is where you're able to customize your avatar. You're able to customize it with all of the stuff that you buy from the Gear Coin shop. So everything from the Gear Coin shop, which is over in that central area we just went over, you're able to get here. So what you do is you press on one of these. Say I want to change something about my battle suit. I'll press battle suit, and then I'll select what layer I want to change, such as the upper layer, and I can mess around with anything I want. Such as I wanted to change this martial artist's obi to something else, I could then change it to a poncho. But I'm going to keep it with the belt. So, once you've done all of those changes, you can make your way over to here, where you're able to change the colors by selecting battle suit or character or anything else. Then say you wanted to change the undersuit color, you can do that, and say I want it to be red, I could make that red. But I'm going to go back to that nice clean white. Now finally, once you've done all of this, you can preview by rotating your character. You can change the pose they're in, and then you can save it to your sketchbook. You get 2 sketchbook slots by default, and currently there is no way to increase that value. So you would press sketchbook A or B, then you would press save to sketchbook, apply from sketchbook, or toggle sketchbook preview. And that is the dressing room. Alright, and now this is the settings board. This is where you're able to change all of your settings, such as if you wanted to change how you rotate, you could do that here. If you want to change the speed of your rotation, you could do that as well. If you want to just turn off stick rotation entirely, you can do that. And now I will no longer rotate when I use my right thumbstick, but I'm going to keep that one on. You can also go down to your visuals to change your graphics settings. You can go down to audio to change your audio settings. You can go to voice chat to change your voice chat settings, and you can go to social to change your social settings. I definitely recommend you check these settings out, because a lot of people don't realize that push to talk is enabled by default, and if you want to talk, you're going to have to press this all the way to open mic. The default push to talk keybind is the A button, which is this one on the right controller. So, that's something to keep in mind. And finally, there is one setting that a lot of people turn off, and it is these funky little buttons. When you're first learning, I definitely recommend you read them and you use them. But as you start to get more experienced, such as 3000, 5000 BP, they're not going to be very helpful anymore. So, you can go down to your visual settings, and you can go to tooltips, and you can slide that one off. And suddenly, they're all gone. But I'm going to keep them on for the moment. So, let's move on to the next area, the pose ghost. Alright, This is the Pose Ghost, as you can see by the ghostly little arms around me. So, what this is for is learning all the new moves you get. So, what you want to do is first walk up here, move this dongle to whatever move you want. It's default set to the structures, but you can pull this lever up and down to select different moves. And then, if you want to say, slide up here, you can see all of the different moves, such as kick, parry, stomp, uppercut, straight. All of these moves. I'm going to set it to ball. So, this will then show you what you have to do to spawn a ball. And just follow these instructions. Hands down here, then up here, down, and then up like that. That is how you learn all of your cool new moves. I definitely recommend you spend some time here. Now, if you want to take this around the gym, so you can say use it while you're fighting the Howard bot, you can press follow mode, and now you'll see it is following me. And if I want to do the move over here, I can do it. If I want to do the move over here, I can do it. If I want to do it over here, I can do it too. You can do it anywhere in the gym. This will disappear when you try to go into a match, so that's something to remember. Get really used to and comfy with your moves here while you have the Pose Ghost, because it's going to go away when you go into a match. Again, definitely recommend. So, let's move on to the next area, and it's right behind me actually. That's where all of the features of Rumble are explained. So let's do that. Alright, and here we have a giant line that goes all the way that way, explaining all of the different features that Rumble has. So, what we want to do is we want to walk up to one of these, we want to read what it's about, this one's about poses, and then we can press this button. It'll show you all the different stuff about this specific feature, such as poses. It has this big explanation for what a pose is, and what they're used for. So, I definitely recommend you read these. You may need to have tooltips on to be able to read these, as without them, there won't be a button here. So, I definitely recommend, when you're first starting out, you read at least a couple of these. I would say the first half are probably the most important to read. So, let's move on to the next area, the training area. So this is the training area. It is a massive, giant circle of earth-bendable material, where you can practice all of your structures, combos, poses, and all kinds of things. This is probably the most open area in the gym. So, you can use this for all kinds of things, such as practicing a combo, trying to practice something that goes really far, trying to practice an aerial mount or something like that where you need all the space you can get, all that cool stuff. There's also a few boulders here, and there's some upper levels up there with even more boulders for you to play around with. So if you want to try and flick around the boulders, want to hold them, practice throwing them, you can do that here. So that is the training area. Let's move on to the next section, and we're going to be walking all the way back. So we've got one more section left to cover, and that's these stairs down. But first, we're going to look at the daily BP leaderboard. And this is going to show what BP people have earned today. It'll show your BP down here at the bottom, along with how much you earned today, and your ranking on the leaderboard. Currently, it says NA because I haven't played any matches today. Then, you can see the top 5 BP earners today, and you can see someone's earned 228 BP today. That's a lot. So, let's move on down here. Now this is Howard's yard. And you may be wondering, wait, Howard, you said I could fight him to practice my moves. And that's absolutely right. Howard is a robot, especially made to help us practice. So we can go over to that board over there, and we can select different difficulties, and we can turn him on so we can see him working. So let's do that. So this little guy over here, that's Howard. And what he does, I already explained. So this little guy over there, that's Howard. He is our special training bot. So if we want to use him, first we want to pull down this Howard program lever to whatever difficulty we want, such as level 1, level 2, or level 3. His moves and options will be limited to the difficulty you select. When he's in level 1, he won't be throwing things like cube or wall, but when he is level 3, he is going to be throwing those structures a bit more. So, once we've selected our difficulty, we can turn him on. He'll power up, and then he'll slide on his rail towards the fighting area that we were just in. And then, you can fight him, do whatever you want, and then, when you're done, turn him off, and then head into some matches. You're gonna have to fight him when you're first starting out. When you first load into the game, before you can play any matches in matchmaking, you're going to have to summon a disc, summon a pillar, and fight Howard. So, you're gonna have to do that. Lesson, kids. But, here's a secret that he doesn't know. If you use the pose ghost on follow mode, you can have the pose for a disc, or a pillar, or a straight, right there with you when you're fighting him. So you can use that as a reference. So, really good information, really good way to train. I definitely recommend when you're starting out, check out the Howard bot. And that's gonna be it for today. I know it's a bit of a different one, that we didn't go over any moves or combos, but I promise next week's video is going to be very interesting. So, until then, use what we have gone over in a few matches, have some fun, and then come back next week to learn some more.